That's Golaem Academy 2022 last session. And probably you all know about it, but we're going to review all the assignment today. We'll have, I'm saying we because we used to be just Alex and me so far for the previous session, but today we've got the chance to get some guests, and I'll probably introduce them after. In the meantime, feel free to let us know where you come from. You can put this into the chat box if you haven't had a chance to say hello yet. Some people from France, from the US, from Rwanda. Oh, welcome. And a lot of familiar names. Okay, I'll just wait for a couple more seconds before we get started. And yeah, let's say we're good to go. So today is going to be Golaem Academy 2022 Mixer. The idea will be to just review the submissions that you guys did. We had a pretty good amount of submissions, so thank you so much for taking all that time to get better and create your own shots. And we'll have the chance to review this with a couple of experienced crowd TD. I think you got the best of the best around the table today. So which order should I pick it from? Well, I've got an order on my side in my participant list. So if you guys want to test your mic, we'll have Sallu from Scanline. Do you want to? Well, let's test your mic right now. Do you want to introduce yourself, Sallu?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, totally. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Sallu. I'm the department supervisor for crowds at Scanline. And we have been using Golaem since last 2 years. And we're kind of a hybrid system, which we use Golaem as our base fundamental caching system. And on top of that, we have built other simulation tools on top of that, which including Houdini and of course Golaem as well. And yeah, looking forward to see what this academy has.
How long have you been doing crowds now?
Oof, I just counted the other day and it was 17 years.
17
years in the industry, but I think about 15 years in doing crowds, yeah.
And just a disclaimer, Sallu used to work for us for, I don't know, 2 years, something.
You can say.
Yeah, well done.
And I got the Golaem mug as well. I don't know.
You still, well done. You still have it.
Yep.
Excellent. Let's switch to other guest, which is the order just changed on my side. So I guess as William started his camera, now is second. So yeah, okay. So, sorry, Mikael, that was supposed to be you, but William took your place. So go ahead.
Sorry, Mikael. Hello, everyone. I'm William. I'm a so-called supervisor at Scanline. I've been working with Golaem since 2014, so it makes nearly 10 years now. I don't have a Golaem or a Golaem mug or t-shirt, but I do have a lot of love for them, and I'm eager to see what you guys did.
You never get a t-shirt?
I did got one, but it was so long ago it doesn't fit onto me now. I'm so fit right now that
you went to the gym way too often, and
exactly.
Got it. would you like to share what in which studio you've been before as well?
Sure. Recently, I was at Method Studio, worked on a couple of Marvel shows. Before that, I was in France. So I worked at Fortiche Production on the Arcane show. Worked also on at Mathematic on a couple of commercials. And Studio Harry, which is a French studio doing mostly TV show for kids, so cartoons and that kind of stuff.
So yeah, a big bunch of various projects from commercials to high-end movies, right?
Correct. Yep.
And I can see everyone now starting his camera so they don't lose their spot. So next that's going to be Mikael.
Okay, hello guys. I'm happy to be here because it's my first time in another review session of Golaem Academy. Even if I follow and work with Golaem since many years ago. Yeah, I started in Microsimage when we co-developed the tool with Golaem guys and some engineers in Microsimage. So yeah, 10 years ago I was already working on Asterix and God Save Britannia, the first feature film where we use massively Golaem, and it was very cool to be part of this project. And since these days, I keep working on various projects. And now I quit Microsimage since 2 years ago to add some animation skill to my
portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. And now I mean as William said previously, he worked as a supervisor in Fortiche, and now I'm the new supervisor in Fortiche for the season 2 of Arcane. I worked for the first season as a crowd TD and crowd graphist, but now I'm supervisor on the show. It's quite nice, and I love Golaem guys. So I'm very happy to be here and working so long with Nico and Alexandre and all the team is the best thing. Yes, really. It was a great opportunity to join the project at the beginning, and I'm still working on it right now, maybe 12 years after. So
yeah, that's the right number. That's 12 years now.
Yeah.
Time through. Well, and as I've got the chance to get both of you at the moment, well done for Arcane show because I really loved it, and the crowds were amazing. I didn't even notice the crowds, which is good. I was just absorbed by the show. And last but not least, we've got Christian as well. And if you want to introduce yourself, Christian.
Hi guys, my name is Christian Kinder. I'm also working at Scanline, so we are represented really well, it seems, today. I'm a lead crowd TV here, and I've been working with crowds for about a little bit more than 5 years. I started out in motion capture, and then I switched to actually making the crowds. Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. I followed last year's submission, and I was really impressed what you guys made, so cannot wait to see this year's submissions.
Well, without further notice, let's switch into that part. Well, so what we'll do is, well, we will go through every single video that we received, and probably also we'll keep some time at the end if people in the audience got questions for people who are experienced and working in the field. I mean, hands-on with the software and with production requirement. If they want to, take some time to speak with you guys, that's okay. We'll probably keep some time at the end as well. Okay, let's move it to VRC then. I didn't have any particular order. I just put a random order here in VRC. So let's go. Do I get the name of the person? Is Yann around? Is Yann around? And if you're around when you recognize your first image of your shot, feel free to put a comment in the chat box so we can know if we can ask questions about what we're seeing. So, okay, let's go. And I don't think he's here because I don't see. He's not here. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, I guess we can. Well, it's the video is looping, so you know, if any of you guys want to have a word, I just want to say that that's pretty funny when I saw this the video for the first time, because it really looks like the first video that we made on our side with a, you know, a fortress and some big machines and the exact same assets. And well, I just enjoy that there's so many stuff that we don't see. There's some, you know, people fighting each other. There's archery, there's horses, there's plenty of stuff, and actually a pretty massive amount of characters. Any of you guys want to go ahead and add your own comments?
I'll go first. I don't know if is it for everyone, or I see that the video is playing choppy. It's a bit.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. So it's lagging a bit, the video.
Yeah, the video is lagging a bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's probably lagging because I'm broadcasting. So, but you can imagine it's been rendered like 24 FPS, and that's supposed to be pretty smooth.
I see. I think it looks pretty good. I think I can see all the examples kind of run through the training are there.
Sure.
But I would love to see more of different cameras, just to see focus on like specific areas to showcase more in terms of, like, say, maybe the archers, or maybe where especially the fighting. And I do see some T poses. I'm not sure if that was intended, but yeah.
That was probably not intended, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, so
I'm sorry, I'm kind of tuned to the kind of catching those kind of things. If somebody feels it bad, like that's my job to do. So sorry about that.
No, but that's exactly what's expected. So what you would probably like improve is change the camera. Well, have more camera angles, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, also, yeah, I think because the camera is moving so fast, and also it's like choppy at the moment. We could actually focus more on like specific battalions to showcase more like what exactly is happening. The camera could stay more on those areas like where you feel that you have done your job the best. So maybe showcase that like more. You know, if you've done like a whole kind of like a battle, and you're really proud of something, say a specific scene or a specific even motion behavior you've set up, so it looks like really cool. So I would just focus on one of the cameras on that to showcase as, you know, the best part. So yeah.
Got it. Does anyone want to jump in?
Did you plug the cable, or are you on the Wi-Fi?
I can plug a cable.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that's really choppy?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it this way then. Anyone else amongst the panelists want to jump in, especially people who have been doing battles? I know that there are a couple of you guys who've been doing battles.
I would speak then if no one wants to. I certainly appreciate the scale of the battle. I have it on YouTube, so it's super smooth, and I can see that we have at least a couple hundreds of people in there, which is super nice. I do love some huge scaled battles myself. We do see some cavalry as well. That would be so nice to see the cavalry going through the ranks of the soldiers in front of the walls, but that's just my small touch. But otherwise, we have some pretty good formations walking by. We have some arrows shooted at some soldiers. I don't know if we see these arrows going into the poor soldiers in front of them, but that's very nice. We do have some great small scenes of battles. So overall, I would say that's some super good stuff. I agree with Sallu in the sense of some cameras angles are not super great to see the whole crowd. We can see on the first shot that you have a very good amount of people walking, marching towards the fight. I would have loved to see more of these huge formations getting each other to fight, but that's just a small touch to be added. Otherwise, it's super good stuff, as Sallu said.
Yeah,
everything is there, and good job.
Yeah, for a one-man band job, that's pretty decent indeed. Christian, I know that you did this so many times in your career. When you were doing a battle scene, well, when you were doing a battle scene at Digik at the time, what was something you were paying attention to? Or I think is not connected with us anymore. You still there, Christian?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I think the guys told mainly the things that I wanted to say. I would also showcase the horses because it's always more challenging, and also some like little formation changes between the different teams that would be cool to see. So let's say like these 4 big soldiers, they start to attack, or like not just go straight, but you know, like going into different directions and maybe joining together. But yeah, other than that, it looks really exciting.
Fair enough. And I see that Yann joined us and he's commenting in the chat box. Great. Let's move to the next one. That's Vincent work. And once again, I'm not sure if you are around, Vincent, but if you are, feel free to chime in into the chat box. And I'm not sure, do we have the YouTube link for that video, Alex? And if we do,
I'm checking.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, just to go with mine, I was I really liked, even if it's not really the topic of, you know, the submission, but I really liked the render style which has been picked here, and probably that helps into selling the shot. The rendering just, you know, removes so many probably bad details of the simulation. I like also the density of characters, and there's a lot of things going on, and just the fact that it's a big mess and the cars are moving around and interacting with the characters. When I first saw it, I just figured that was pretty sweet, and it could be into a Love, Death and Robot season 4 episode probably. Okay, and we got the YouTube link if you want to get a better version, not being chopped out. Anyone wants to chime in?
Yeah, I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's pretty cool, but due to the graphic style and the shading choice, we lose a lot of detail of the crowd.
For sure.
And it doesn't put the crowd in the first place. You get the building, thing like that, but you lose every detail. For example, you have to see many times the movie before seeing people eating each other at the front stage. So it's too bad, because maybe just putting some different shaders for the zombies would enlight the acting, the richness of the shot. Even it's a style that the student can propose. I think for a Demoreel, for a Golaem, he can enphase the crowd by a different color, for example. Just maybe for one color different, but it would be easier to get the point and to get directly the richness of the shot, which is, I think, and I can see it, not perfectly, but I can see it, very, very, very nice, very nice. So this is my advice.
Yeah, I just noticed that at the beginning of the set of the shot, there are some characters here in the foreground, like hitting each other. Like if you check at the bottom there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's small details, and there are also some crawling. There are some crawling motions here and there. That guy is crawling, well, not being avoided by the rest. He's just being crossed. But yeah, that's small attention to the storytelling here that I also appreciate.
But it's nice, very nice work. Yeah.
Anyone else want to provide some advice?
I'll
How?
go.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's like stylized. I think there's a lot of technicalities which wouldn't kind of, if I comment, it's gonna. I mean, it'll be fair for that.
Yeah.
But I really like the small details, like in the front. It took me a while to kind of figure out, but then once you see it, then you start to see more details in every little things. I think it's a good work in terms of like creatively. Technically, I would say there are a few areas in terms of like people like some of the zombies are like moving in the same, like playing the same motion, and some of the physics stuff, which is like bouncing off, it looks a bit thing. But again, since it's like stylized, all those technicalities
Sure.
kind of can be forgiving. But I think I would have loved to see more, again, more. It's really good work. I would have again liked to see more of showcasing on with the different camera angles. Like there's so much going on, if you already have done this thing, I think I hope that he's done like different camera angle renders to actually showcase even more. But yeah, it's a pretty good job.
Yeah, true, because the characters, they're coming from various different positions. So indeed, if you were changing the camera angles, you will still have the crowds converging and making plenty of different stuff. They're coming from the back, from the side. I can see various points, yeah, from where the crowds are being emitted. And there's probably a fair amount of characters here with I mean, a lot of simulation and physics collision. Probably would have taken a couple of minutes to export the cache for such a scene.
I see. Yeah, just to lastly add, like I think it's got like a lot of potential, and I think if
Yeah, true.
Another thing you need to not kind of forget is that you're also like telling a story, even though you're doing a crowd simulation. So that's also kind of plays a really important thing. Like, for example, like this is like a stylized thing, but if you could have cut into different camera angles and to tell a kind of a story, like to show a buildup of what's happening. So maybe cutting into the guy eating in the rooftop, and then slowly, revealing the big massive crowd. Those kind of thing also kind of needs to be kind of put into your reel. So it should showcase like the overall kind of thing. Your crowd should be there to support your kind of your story and what do you want to showcase in your show.
Indeed, that's probably also something I should have said in the previous video, is that especially when you do a battle, you want to tell the story, who's the first camp and the opponents, and how they are related to each other. And that's also something you can do with camera angles and the way you edit your final result.
It can be like a small story. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But as you said, like
it doesn't need to be a big one.
Yeah, as you said, having the zoom on the eating guy in the foreground, and probably having a back camera following the cars more closely, having like a inside camera into the cars, that kind of stuff for sure can really improve the way you tell something. Indeed. Anyone else want to jump into that video here?
Yes, just want to say that it's a super nice scene. I love this World War Z, like a swarm of zombies. I've always loved this kind of stuff. So props to you. The use of physics is great as well. It makes some funny results despite the serious mood with the vehicles rolling on the characters. I find it very funny. Maybe the only thing that I would say would be it joins what Sallu and Mikael said about the storytelling. The crowds that you have, the swarms of zombies, are not going specifically towards the vehicles. It seems that they are coming through from everywhere and going into not a really precise direction, but
Yeah,
I'm
indeed.
assuming that they are coming towards the vehicle to stop or slow down the vehicles. So maybe the only thing I would say would be to better direct the direction of the swarm towards the vehicles, so you won't have any zombies going behind the vehicles. Like they were not going, that was not their idea to go toward this direction. You know what I mean? Especially on the right part of the first video, when you have the right arm, let's call it that way, of the swarm going through the ruins. I'd love to see this arm going, do a curve and go towards the vehicle, maybe making that slowing down the vehicles and making it then stop for the second video.
Yeah, that's actually something I didn't notice. And you're correct, is that the characters, they go in random places. So those guys here, even if they've got the car next to them, they just head for the tank. They just hit the tank and fall. And indeed, just adding that small target stuff would have made probably the result even better of what we're having.
But that's super great stuff.
Yeah,
nonetheless.
no, so not big. Yeah, not something big to improve to get a pretty nice results out of it. Should we move to the next video, or are we good? Or let's move to the next one. Is Traian around? Once again, if you're around, let us know, and feel free to put a message into the chat box. And yeah, there's the YouTube link also being available.
But yeah, this one is smooth.
I'm sorry?
This one is smooth in the stream.
Okay, great. So I totally recognize the scene that we made during the academy. We made that was one of the sessions that we had, which was making a crossroad and having pedestrian interacting with the car. So waiting for the traffic lights to switch to red to be able to move in, and the rest of the time just avoiding and waiting. So yeah, that's the exact same stuff, and that's a pretty classic of crowd simulation. Overall, well, if we just don't speak about the environment and just focus on the crowd, but that feeling of having many people doing different stuff is here with diversity, which is something that you always want to have, and the people stopping to the crossing is also something pretty nice. I'm still waiting for the people to cross, but I don't think they'll cross for the duration of the shot. But yeah, traffic scenes, you guys have been doing this. That's a classic use case, right? You've been doing this all the time. What you would pay attention to when you do such scenes? Would like to go first?
I can go first. Yeah, for such a scene like this, the first thing which kind of stands out for me, I mean, I think it's a good showcase, but I would have loved to see more of I don't know if the wheels are turning.
No, they're not. This is what I'm looking at, and
okay.
in this examples, they are not.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because that is something, yes, the traffic is kind of it's really great out of the box. Yeah. But that adding that extra functionality actually brings it alive. And I don't know if there are, and also if you had people in the car, that could have kind of showcased, the effort like put into like doing something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small shot. Like I understand like what you're trying to achieve, but also you'll also need to show the efforts you have actually put into something. Sure. And that's what we are always looking is like, yes, there's a simple scene, but also it can, if you have put efforts, it'll actually showcase more. Like say if you added lights, like, the turn lights and then the wheels turning, passengers, and maybe a car stopping, person getting out or getting in the car.
Sure.
So this could have been shown in all this in a simple scene like this, and you could have shown all the efforts. But I think it's a good start. I would say, if I would like to say this, like extended exactly the same shot and like adding all the other things, like, wheel turnings, the turning lights and all those things. And I would like to see this again. But yeah, I think it's a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, probably seeing more than just one cross, like having another camera angles, which shows maybe a bigger environment with, extrapolate your behaviors to a bigger scene. Who else has been doing traffic here? Or city?
I would like to join.
Sounds familiar.
So, apart from what Sallu said, I think it simple is sometimes always better. I would also raise a little bit the camera so we would see a little bit from top. First thing that really bothered my eyes was the turning of the cars. I think that's a really, like, the first thing that it's coming off. And also, since you have the opportunity to see the cars really close, some secondary motions would be really cool. So yeah.
So you're speaking maybe about dynamics, about the wheels, about having
so
the driver
when
in it, right?
car stops, then there would be like a little bit of motions, because since you're really close, then you could use them.
Absolutely.
And also the others said the other thing. So so yeah, obviously with the pedestrians, you could do the crossing and other things that Sallu and others said. But apart from that, for me, the turning and the little secondary dynamics could add a little bit more to the scene.
True. I can see a comment in the chat saying that having shaking car due to the engine, that kind of stuff is something you could add with
exactly.
procedural animation. And that's small stuff which can be added, especially when you're that close to the characters, and which really helps setting the shot. And for sure, adding a driver and a couple of passengers will be really great to improve the final result there. Anyone else want to jump in, or should we move to the next one? We're good. William, to chime in?
Yeah, just want to maybe add some things on the technical side of the traffic itself. I agree with what Sallu and Chris said. Just two things that you could enhance directly onto the traffic systems would be first the sample count of the crossing itself, because as you can see, at some point you have a green car turning on the lane where the camera is, this one.
Yeah.
And it seems really janky, which is something that you can fix really easily by raising up the sample count amount. And also on these two cars, the white and black one, I found that these two cars are really, really super close when they are stopping. You could raise up the bonnet box to avoid having this kind of cars being stuck one in front of each other. I know that we are in New York City, so drivers are quite reckless there, but I think they care about the cars a bit more than that. So you could do that, and it will be already a better traffic simulation.
Well, to be honest, the sample count stuff is something we should change the default value, because it's way too less, and everybody pumps it up every time they just do a traffic. So it will be changed into the next version. But indeed, that's the just simple way to fix this. Okay, let's move to the next one. Is Théau in the room? If you are, let us know. And we got a crazy crowd Pacman scene with some physics. A good thing that you're here, because I actually have a question for you. Is the point system also a crowd entity, or is it something that you keyframe here? Because every time the Pacman is hitting someone, I can see that 300 counter, which is rising up, being emitted. So is it something which gets emitted from the crowd, or is it something that you manually keyframe? I'm hoping it's a crowd stuff. Okay, it's a crowd stuff. Okay, so well done. So that means that 300 points is a crowd character that you rigged. You have a joint, it's emitted, it has procedural animation, so well done. It's something which is unexpected. I mean, that's the first time I can see a Pacman of crowds, but I really loved how it turned out, the lighting, the fact that the characters are getting flying around with some physics. Wow, that pointing system then is pretty neat. So yeah, super sweet work. I'm not sure how you sell this into a reel because it's a kind of super realistic, surrealistic. But still I love it, and I figured it was pretty funny. Who wants to join? Go ahead. Sallu, you have to go first.
Okay, I'll go because I've been here. Yeah, I like the idea. I think it's pretty cool idea, and I think it really sells in terms like what you're trying to achieve, like the story side of it. I think it's pretty cool. On the technical side of it, I think I do see that some of the 300 the numbering, whatever is like the points
Yeah,
showing
the
up.
counter.
Yeah, I wish that the point control was like, especially in some of the camera angles, it was facing the camera, because in some of them we don't really see it, we just see it as like a flat number. So it would have been nice to orient it or to face to the camera so that always you can read the number correctly. But I don't know in terms of what your idea was to make the all these people like fly away. I would have, if I were you, like I would have seen it. I mean, I would have done it in a way that instead of flying away, they would just get eaten by the Pacman. But and somehow like the entities get like underneath, it's gone. But I think it's a really cool idea, and really like this.
Am I correct thinking that they are colliding with the environment as well? It looks like when they're flying and the physics happens that there's some rigid bodies for the environment, and they never cross the environment. It looks like, yeah, it looks like it is. Yeah, let's Théau answer. Yeah, indeed, of course, it would have been cool to have them being eaten, but I still like the physics stuff, and that also show how, well, that's also another way to use the physics and see how it works. Yeah, the walls have colliders. This is what I thought. Well done. And indeed, I liked your point, Sallu, regarding having the point facing the camera, and that's probably something you could achieve with the layout, because maybe depending on once you've done your cache, you don't want to resimulate everything probably. So with the layout, you can have the phase 2 layer being headed, and that phase 2 can be pointing the camera if you want. So that's just a good way to have, once the simulation has been exported, to pick your camera angles. And when you're good with this, just have the layouts regarding the camera. Who else has been doing a crazy crowd of Pacman and want to chime in? Or if you haven't, would you like to add something on top of what Sallu's been saying?
Yeah, I go. I think it's great idea, and the point is, is to eat some people running into always. So I could suggest to add some animation when people are flying away.
Yeah,
it's a good thing to have a static pose in the beginning where they are eaten.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you could have some flying with arms, maybe something like that, to add some funny parts on top of the Pacman eating them, just to have some cool things.
Yeah, more diversity.
Yeah, exactly, more diversity, exactly. But the idea is really great, and you make it very, very aesthetic and funny to see. So even if the numbers popping out with the score, it's a good idea. and it's deal with Golem stuff. So it's great. Not much to say about it, but just a great job. It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Théau is mentioning that they are using the folding animation that we used, and indeed during the academy we had one animation from XMO, and probably that's the good thing about being also an animator as well as a crowd artist, is that if you need some extra animation, you get the skills to do it, or having a mocap stage or having a studio. So I'm not sure if you were an animator, Théau, but yeah, for sure, more animation. The final results just bring better diversity.
It's due to the lagness of the video on the streaming. I think they are moving little in the hair, but so it can do the job. But I'm not pretty sure to see it properly. In the
they all have it's a super small animation. I think that's a 20 frame animation where they're just moving their arms and legs in this way. So but that's the same animation being used.
It's great. So I did not notice before because
I get it.
Okay.
And
it's fun.
Are they also just curious about it? Are they trying to flee the Pacmans, or they don't seem to really react to the fact that Pacman is coming their way, right? It looks like they're raising their arms at least, but are they trying to go in the opposite direction? Well, it's not something which was obvious when I watched it for the first time, but probably that's also something which would really help, telling the story as well, where the characters want to, get away from the point. Okay, and just mentioning that he started quite late, so he didn't have the time to polish everything. But yeah, if you want to, polish it and just want your license to be extended, let us know, and we'll be happy to do so. Anyone else want to jump onto the Pacman?
I'm seeing Théau's answer regarding the flea behavior. I did notice that too, but I would suggest to make the flea behavior more prominent, because right now they seem like they are just turning around and waiting to be eaten by the Pacman. I would have loved to see them run and extending the range of the navigation, not the range, but the power of the navigation to force them to run somewhere. And at the end also, we can see on the corners that everyone has reached the run destination. Maybe you could do something about it just to avoid these clumps on the corners, maybe to have them cheering or, I don't know, moving somewhere else. Maybe if the Pacman is not in the direct surrounding of the characters, they can move back to their original position. So when the Pacman is moving around again in the same area, they do run again and run for their lives. But that's the only suggestions I can do. Otherwise, it's a fun simulation and a fun use of physics.
Yeah, I'm reading Théau comment as well. We're saying that the panic is propagating into the people, and now I can see that from one character to another, they switch the animation to raising their arm. So yeah, there's actually a lot of things going on here. There's the physics, the perception. There's that point being emitted and killed at some point. So yeah, well done, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff in terms of behaviors there. So yeah, pretty great and fun simulation actually. Okay, let's move to the next one. If you improve it, I want to see the final version.
I wouldn't see the Pacman like this again. Like my thing about Pacman is changed now.
So let's go back. Then we've got Pavan work, and Alex also put the link if you want to say it smoother on your side. And I think Pacman work, he puts different shots here. So there's going to be stadiums, there's the fortress soldier. So that's pretty much the example that we've been working with, but being rendered properly and probably also being tweaked slightly to make a kind of Demoreel. And we've got, all the classic examples, so battles, city, and that kind of stuff. And yeah, let's see it another time. So there's a Mexican wave here, some soldier on terrain. Some physics explosion, some arrows being thrown this time, and I can totally see the arrows. So it looks like a crowd TD reel that you'd like to submit to studio. So if you guys received that kind of work, what kind of feedback would you say? Yeah, you're the supervisor, Sallu, so you already know that you'll have to talk first, right? You're muted at the moment.
Sorry, I was still looking at the.
Gotcha.
I think it. In terms of like the showcasing, I think it's. I like the city traffic because that is something. It's like not a part of the current the Golem tutorial part, and also the character pack which comes with the scenes. It's kind of hard to say because I mean there are a lot of little details like people are floating on especially on the soldiers. They're floating on the terrain. So
is that
also
something,
in terms of
that's something you pay attention to, like feet contact and that kind of stuff that they are super important, correct?
Yeah, the ground adaptation is the most important thing for a crowd TD because you only you can see them in your viewport, but sometimes when you get it from the lighting, like if you're not careful and you didn't do correctly, you always get a kickback from lighting saying, oh, the crowds are floating because the shadows, of course, won't match. So that is something we had to be every time be careful. Like it should be like in your back of your head all the time, like to check if you don't need somebody to tell you actually to check the crowd is adapted to the ground or not. You should be checking, like for example, for a crowd TD or a crowd artist, that should come inherently. So yeah, in terms of other things, I think I like the city traffic thing. Again, if it extended that in, I don't know if I see the wheels turning, because one of the things I always look for the traffic is the turns, the wheel turning, because that shows you actually put your effort in learning chops. And,
I think,
and also adding,
I think they're slightly turning, and probably having some kind of motion blur should have helped, to have the steer, but I can see them like slightly turning. And okay, I can see that Pavan is confirming this, but it's really subtle, I would say.
Okay, yeah. Oh, cool. And like adding passengers and things like, again, it'll showcase more of your efforts that you not only just doing out of the package, but also you're adding your own stuff to it. And for the army thing, I think one of the things we normally see is everything is in sync, like they are putting their spears in front, but it's all at the same time. In kind of compared to what the Mexican wave, that's really good because, you have not everybody doing the same thing. You have some kind of delays and things. But I would like to see the same thing for the Roman soldiers defending, like everybody's kind of, it's never going to happen in real life because some people are slow, some people are fast. So to see all those kind of little details, like it also shows like how you do a reference and then how you kind of replicate the reference in your scenes. So that also kind of adds as like you really know how it should look, and then you try to do exactly how your reference looks. So yeah,
agreed.
I think it's a good start. Yeah.
Can I join with the comment? I think the presentation looks really cool, but one thing that I would mention with this kind of reels, where you have you show basically the basics and you quickly go through, is that I would sometimes expect something at the end where you really dive into really in depth. So you choose something and you start to work on it a lot, because as Sallu was going through these shots, like when you go through it first time and you see, oh cool, so he knows the basics, but then you start to look it again in depth, and then you start to see like really start looking. So in my opinion, sometimes maybe less is more. And what I would do is like I choose something specific, and then I would really start to dive into that. So for example, if you choose the physics, or if you choose the traffic or something, and then you show that part a little bit more, and then you start to put more extra things in that one scene.
And that was something I was about to ask, is if you get a reel, would you prefer to have a large variety of use cases, or would you prefer to have one but which is like really advanced? So you answered my question here. Like you,
I think it's cool if you show variety. So it's cool that you show that, because in our minds, when you sometimes looking for a reel to hire someone, you always want to know what they know. So it's cool that you see that, hey, okay, so he knows physics, okay, he knows how to do traffic, because later on many cases people hire for like, they know, okay, we're gonna have a show where we need do a lot of traffic. So it's good to know that we know you can do it. But on the other hand, we want to know like how complicated things you can do as well. So that's why sometimes it's good if you choose something and then like one shot, and then you really put in the effort and put like really complex things together. That would show that, because it's always challenging once you add more and more things into the same simulation and reaction, then that's where you know the problems come out, and that's where you learn the most actually.
Yeah, sure, makes sense. Got it. Thank you.
Oh, nice work.
Does anyone else want to join, or should we move to the next one? Oh, good.
Yeah, I just want to add something, but I totally agree with what has been said before. Especially, it's not necessary to put a lot of different situation of Golem usage. Just focus on less parts, and especially for the code adaptation, even in the wave, Mexican wave, we can see people are not fitting on the ground on the model because the legs are all in the air. Not the left and right legs are not in the same at the same level, for example, things like that. And concerning the wave, it's cool that you have some mixed people that are part of the wave or not, but I don't really understand the end of the wave, because the camera is moving in one way, the wave is following the same way, and at the end I don't know if there is a return of the wave almost started or not. I don't know what exactly how it ends, so it doesn't help the compression of the wave. So maybe you wanted to end it properly, but the fact is not ended properly. And for the last part of my points, it's regarding the physics and the turning. I don't know the word.
Yeah, the turning bar.
Yeah, the bar. Thank you. Turning bar. I think the physics is way too much higher as a reaction for the people. The bar is turning at one speed, and the jump of the people is a very, very high, considering the shock.
Yeah, the shock that they're
so if you want to show us or show many people in the Golem industry and crowd industry, you have to pay attention to this kind of details. because even you want to show us some specific skill in the physics, if the shot doesn't not deserve, but doesn't represent the amount of time you want to put it in it, I think it's not a good thing to show. So foot on the ground,
yeah,
physics correctly manage in the amount of reaction and physics and collisions. And yeah, it's pretty good thing if you have all those things checked. After that, it's okay.
Yeah, that's probably something I didn't really say it enough during the training, is that indeed the final animation is really important, and ground adaptation is a big part which helps setting the shot. And it's not a big deal, especially I can see here on your terrain, they're probably not adapting because the default frequency of ground adaptation is probably not high enough. So we've got a lot of sections which are covering ground adaptation in the tutorial. So that's not a big deal to make that shot way better. That's what you're having. And yeah, good things that you guys reacted also on the way of having variety compared to pushing the shots more in the more advanced way. So that brings pretty relevant advice in which direction Pavan should push the shot if he wants to. Got it. Thanks, guys. Moving to the next one. That's Patrick here. I'm not sure if you are in the room as well. And here as well, we got 2 shots being arranged. Funnily enough, that's something we haven't done into the academy. So I was kind of surprised to see the Tifo arranging here with the right texture. So I will be super curious to know how you did it, because I know that I haven't had the time to do the tutorial, and I know that that's not something which is super easy to do. So I'll be curious to know how you achieve that texture assigning on the characters. Yeah, that's something which is, it doesn't look advanced, but it is. So I would love to know more about it. And I'll let the guys, add more comments on the rest. So yeah, if any of you guys want to jump in, and in the meantime, Patrick, I can see you are around, so please let me know how you put this Tifo on.
I'll go first.
Yeah,
but you know that we've got a tutorial on that.
We do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that because I made the tutorial when I was at Golaem.
You did, but is it still up to date? Okay, I was pretty sure where.
Well,
okay, got it. So is it like just a UV? Is it UV shift or something like this?
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was on a really old version of Golaem too. But it's good to see that is actually implemented that, and maybe to the newest version of Golaem, which is basically the idea is the same, and then how you change your taking the old idea and actually adapting it to the newer features and newer techniques. That's really cool. Sorry, I'm kind of. Sorry, I'll let others speak first before.
Well, I already know that what you guys are gonna say, right? Probably you would like to have more delay on the way the characters, especially here, they're all raising the sign at the same time, and nobody in a crowd. Well, even the most perfect crowd don't do this, so you probably want to add some delay. I'm also curious how you end up with this animation, because I don't think we've got exactly that animation in the character pack. So probably you ingested. There were some postures being ingested here, so I'd love to know how that happened as well. Who else wants to jump in? Go ahead. All the casual stuff that you want to put in. How do you improve those shots?
I would say that there are some pretty interesting ideas in there. On the stadium shot, I would say that everyone, as soon as they have the cardboard up in the air, they don't seem to move at all, which is also something that is not really credible in the real world. Even if everyone is moving at the same time, you do have some delays because some people are moving a bit their arms, or maybe they can cheer as well. In those kind of use cases, in stadiums, people are overly joyous when doing those. So maybe you could have more movement on the cardboards overall, and not them being stopped as soon as they have the thing up in the air. For the horse and cavalry charge with the big N, which is super funny, to be careful of the contacts with the fingers on the cavalry. As we can see, there are pretty huge gaps. It's not something that is in itself bad, but it could be way better with those gaps being removed totally. It will sell better the idea of the thing in the shot.
Agreed. And yeah, he's probably keeping his secret here because he's not putting in the chat box how we did it. Who else wants to add a comment onto those sequences? Then, okay, I can see also he's answering that. Okay, did the animation manually, so that means that you converted the animation yourself, so great. Also, that's something we did in one session when we were doing the soldiers, but being able to bring some procedural animation on the characters, as William was saying, you know, just had to add more diversity, bring in orientation a bit more on the left, on the right, just to have, you know, more various postures and the final animation here. But still well done on being able to do this. Okay, and did the cardboard in the layout tool. That raised even more questions. I don't even know. Okay, I have to. I'll figure it. I'll figure it. If you want to share your secret, feel free. Else, I'll try to do it on my end then. Okay, next, let's go to the next person there. That's Joel here, and I'm not sure if Joe is in the room. You are. I was pretty frustrated when I saw your your shot the first time, because I wanted to get way closer to those assets that that's what we're doing now. I wanted to see those crabs, how they look like, how the legs move, how they adapt to the ground, because there's clearly some ground adaptation here, then making, you know, the ground area is not flat. I can see some bumps here and there, and still the animation looks pretty sweet. And I wanted to go closer because I like the idea, and yeah, I just wanted to see exactly how that works. What I probably would say, and that's something I guess the guys would say also as well, is that we can clearly see the way they've been placed, and I can kind of see the grid at the beginning. So probably adding some pre-roll in the start to have some diversity, scattering, to have a different scattering that we're having into the puzzle is something which really help. And yeah, please do a closer render to the assets, because here you've been converting your character, which is not probably something which was easy, considering that the character is like a six-legged character with the two clamps. You converted your animations as well. You converted your shaders, made the geometry. So that's too bad that those characters are way too far, but the result looks great. Who wants to jump in here?
Yeah, I'll go first maybe.
Aha. Go ahead.
Sorry, Sallu. It's only a way of sliding on the ground issue, I think. We clearly can see not every, but a lot of crabs sliding on the ground. I think the issue may rely on the characterization of the legs, maybe, and what part of the legs is on the floor or not, because I don't really recognize a leg of crab. Yeah, you know, the rear.
They're supposed to, yeah, they're supposed to move next to each other, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Uh, uh, the thing is, they are all moving in the same way, so it's okay. And just at the end, we can see on the right side some clouds upping on the going up. So it's kind of another action that could be used sooner in the shot to see something crowd fighting or something like that. I don't know what exactly are they doing. What are they doing? It may be in the navigation system or things like that. That's standing in the idle position. I don't know what, but the thing is the cloud can be shown sooner in the
agreed. Probably also something which would not have that you can almost get for free also as well is just having some texture variation or maybe just some saturation or hue variation on the character just to have different colors. And also, so wow, that's pretty specific, but crabs, they moved, if I'm correct, they move on the side. They're not really moving. I'm not an expert, but that's something I guess I've seen on the beach. And here they're kind of strafing maybe in diagonal, and probably would have also be just a small nice addition to have crabs moving being in the opposite direction but moving into the same overall direction, because here they're all like facing the back wall and playing the same animation, but that would have mean having two behaviors, two animations, two way of placing the characters, because they will have reverse orientation. So that's a bit more work here. But yeah, who else wants to jump in?
Okay, I'll go. I think what Mikael said as well, same thing. But I think I would give extra points for actually taking what you learned and actually using it on a different character.
Agreed. Yeah,
because that actually shows that you understand the character, how to set it up. Yes, I mean, there are some things you could improve on the character setup, but actually it shows the effort that you went through to actually use your skills to put it on a different character. And then because when you do that, you kind of learn more things. Sometimes, you know, you learn things when you are actually doing. You make a mistake and then you figure out how to solve that problem, and then you learn something new. It happens to us like every day too. And in terms of the shot, the thing with the crabs and anything crawling, you always get clients that they need to crawl everywhere. So crawling on the wall, crawling on the thing, ceiling. So that will be a challenge, because if you were to come onto like a show right now, and if you had a show that say we need crabs, and then the first thing they would say is to put crabs on the ceiling, crabs on the walls and things. So it would have been nice to actually see it on a different terrain, especially to showcase this part. Like something coming from a foreground or something like that would have been really cool. But I think I really like the effort put into like creating it onto the character. Yeah, I'm sure you can take this and put it into like another terrain to kind of showcase your more terrain adaptation and maybe different camera angles to show the character even more. But yeah, that's a good job.
Or maybe even adding characters here on the foreground. I can see that stone wall here and probably that tree there, having, you know, defocused characters moving and evolving on that area would probably helping selling the shot even more. But you're correct, when you got crawling characters, you want them everywhere and probably also on walls or more surfaces. Yeah, indeed. Who else wants to jump in?
I do. Just to say a small tip that can maybe help a lot of you guys. In my career, I encounter way more than I would have liked the case of we have only one animation for a whole set of crowds. And in an ideal world, it doesn't happen, it never happens, but in reality, it's really often the fact and the case. And I noticed that you could get away with having a slight motion speed ratio between your entities. What I mean is that every crab in this instance are moving at the same speed because you're using the same animation. it's okay. And if you take maybe a third of the crowd moving a little bit faster than the rest of the crowd and the other third a little bit slower, it could greatly help setting the shot with only one animation. So I think you can do that in the motion behavior with the speed ratio attribute. No need to be too extreme, just small values could heavily grab the shot, sell the shot. Because if you go too high or too low, it will be a slow motion or, you know, a Benny Hill situation, which you absolutely don't want. Just want to be really, really small and precise on this value, just to have some slight variation on the speed without doing redoing a new animation because you won't have the time or the will to do so.
Yeah,
On the locomotion, you can maybe play with the navigation, maybe have more than one navigation playing randomly on the characters. So
some will be like way slower and some will be way speeder, and they will avoid each other still.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct.
So a small hack, but that can really help you setting a shot, even if you don't have all the mandatory resources that you need to do so.
Layering procedural animation, especially when you got the clamp stuff, that's something you can animate as well, having some characters, you know, moving the clamps up or that kind of stuff, just to add small diversity in the animation, even if the legs are more or less the same with variation, just adding secondary animation on the rest of the character could be great. But yeah, and if you want any help into, you know, perfecting the way the character setup is done, I'm not sure if you had any issues with the legs or so on, and the way they adapt to the ground, let us know. We'll be happy to help to get a pretty high-end result if you like. Moving to Hayley's work, is also Hayley in the room. And also the Vimeo link is being shared. So here we've got something I don't see really often is raising character from the ground. So dead bodies all over around, and as soon as the character comes by, they are playing some nice animation to raise up and start following the character. And I probably have the same remark than the previous one, is that I would love to see this closer to where we are. I mean, you're trying to tell a story, which I really like, that the character goes through the scene and it wakes up the other characters here. And I would love to be, you know, closer to the action, maybe having like a embarked camera or something like this. Because in terms of behaviors, we probably have some perception here, which is waking up the characters. They are playing a nice animation to rise and then switching to navigation. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but in my opinion, we are a bit too far to actually be able to really enjoy it properly. Who want to join in?
Yeah, I can join in. I do see Hayley's actually saying that sorry about the flickering with the rendering issue. I think that's kind of like one of the things. If you're a crowd TD, you normally get kind of these queries from the lighters saying, hey, something is not working for crowds, or the crowds are flickering or crowds are disappearing and those kind of things. But the thing is, like, you would need to figure it out, kind of like, you know, have an answer to the lighter. So I would actually focus to kind of, you know, resolve that problem. But other than that, like what Nico said, I think it's very hard to, there are a lot of things going on in terms of the way they're getting up and things. It's very hard to see it, or probably I would say it's not showcased enough of all those little details. But I think it's technically, I think it's a good start in terms of like making the characters like get up from one transition, like transition between different animations. I think you got that, but I think it needs a little bit of tweaking and of course solving your render issues. If you solve it, I think that kind of shows you, like, you know, yes, everybody goes through a problem, but at the end of the thing, what matters is like how you solve the problem. or well, not how you solve the problem, but more of like you solve the problem, right? So, and yeah, feel free to like ask on the chat and things to maybe there's somebody else gonna help you out with. So that's another part of the thing too, is like ask for help. So yeah, I think it's a good start.
Well, I like the story it tells, and I would just have imagined something, you know, a bit more fast in terms of cuts and the rhythm of the characters, because here they looked, well, especially that woman who's running, she looked quite slow for someone who's trying to get away from zombies. But I really loved the story it tells, and I just, you know, would like to see it like as an action movie, editing stuff. Who else wants to join ahead and comment there?
Well, I do. Good simulation, nice idea. This fearless woman jogging around the apocalypse, zombie apocalypse is definitely.
Okay, now I can see. Yeah, I can see the comment that she's not trying to get away. She's just jogging for sure.
She's definitely someone to have in mind whenever you face an obstacle in your life. The only thing that I would say to you, but also to everyone, is don't be scared to remove people in the layout tool, especially in the crowds, in the global crowd, when you see someone that is not reacting properly. What I mean is that at some point, when the woman is around the middle of the crossing, reaching the end of the crossing, we see a zombie popping out of nowhere and joining the crowd. It's something that, again, it's not bad on itself, but it's not something that gives you a good appreciation of your work, and you can get easily rid of him within the layout. So don't be scared to put too many people at the beginning of the simulation and then remove all the ones that are broken or not reacting properly to have a nice result at the end without doing cumbersome simulation or redoing everything at every single time. This is something that I do every time, every day. I really put way more people than I want to, and then removed a lot of them because you will have some people broken or not reacting the way you want. It's something like this. You can change this fact. But doing that is a really simple and an easy way to make sure that there is only the best things to see in your final render.
Yeah. Also, I'm under the impression that all the guys which are on the ground, they have different postures. It looks like they are not raising up all the same way, that some are on the back, some are on the front. Also means that there was some work here based on having the right motion being played onto the right posture. So yeah, well done on this, because that's something which is totally not easy to do usually. Does anyone else want to go jogging with that woman and provide her some advice? Okay, so let's move to the next person. But definitely, if you want to, you know, re-render this with different camera angles, that would really enhance the final result for sure. Okay, we got Elder. If you're in the room, let us know. And you're here. So here as well, that's going to be a couple of sequences. There was the battle one, some zombie with the PLE license, stadium stuff. Do I assume that you rode the drone on the first shot and that's a sequence that you made, or is it stock footage that you had a crowd on it in the first one with the soldiers? Free stock video. Okay, gotcha. Well, I like the sense of scales on that first video. I'm just obviously bothered by the fact that probably the tracking of the video was not perfect, so I can see like a discrepancy between the crowds and the way the terrain moves. But apart from that, I really loved here the lighting and the way the character behaved. Just, you know, also some small stuff regarding ground adaptation, the speed that they are moving. It's really small stuff to improve, but you'll get pretty great shot just by fixing those. And I guess the guys will have the the same remarks than before. Make sure that ground adaptation is working properly. Make sure to concentrate on the action. We can see some characters gathering behind, but they're totally hidden by the people in front, and the fact that they're flying also doesn't help. And well, stadium stuff and here as well. That's yeah, pretty casual stuff that we like to see. Who wants to chime in? Supervisors first.
All right, I'll go ahead then. There is some nice stuff. I would say that first on the Romans attack, a bit of video, especially on the cohorts, you could add some more chaotic details.
Yeah.
Everyone is on the same row in a perfect, really perfect way, which really doesn't happen in reality. So you could add a bit more chaos overall in the placement, as well as making sure that not everyone is moving at the same time. Like they all brace at the exact same time. The soldiers on the left all walk with the same animation at the same pace, really synchronized. So doing that is not really hard to do, and it greatly helps you to sell the shot and add some reality, quote unquote reality, into your work. Regarding the stadium simulation, I would say that it's a really COVID-friendly crowd that you have in there. You could definitely add some 1,000 more people in there.
Yeah, pump up the numbers.
Exactly, that would have been nice. Maybe be careful of the seats on the sides, because you have some people there standing up on the seats and not really paying attention to where they are. It would have been nice maybe to have them sit and then look at the scene with a look at, just to show us that you know how to do that.
Yeah, bringing more diversity in terms of behaviors.
Exactly. Maybe have some people walking between the aisles, or just to have some kind of reality again in the overall crowd, and help us to see that you have paid attention to how a stadium behaviors really is. For the zombies crowd, I would say that the most bad, quote unquote, again, bad thing would be the foot contacts.
Yeah.
It's super important to make sure that everything is as great as possible, especially for crowd entities that are so close to the camera. With this current animation, it seems like the zombies are swimming in a way, which I assume it's not really what you wanted. Which, yeah, it's kind of a bummer, because in the background we see so many people crawling like a World War Z zombie wave. So maybe you could make sure that first the foot contacts are correct, and then add more people and have a nicer result. But otherwise, I appreciate the scale that you have done on all the shots. Even though the stadium is super COVID friendly, I can count up to maybe 500 up to 1,000 people, which is super nice. Same goes for the Roman formations. So just small details to tune up, and you will have something really, really great.
Yeah, that shot will be like really, really amazing with just small corrections here and there to to make it perfect. Yeah, and probably also Sajil in the chat had a good addition here, is that indeed the characters don't have shadows, where here the stadium parts have. So that's also maybe well, that's small stuff now, especially related to the crowd here, but probably would have helped also to give that impression of having so many people there. Does anyone also want to provide an advice there?
Cool. I'll go.
Sorry, Sallu, go.
No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
It was a question regarding the the zombies shot, it's like if the root is pinned in the air, the root of the guy. The pelvis is.
Yeah, it looks like indeed it looks like it's not moving up and down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So,
So probably
there is no terrain.
Yeah, probably ground adaptation is disabled for some reason, and this is why you don't get. Yeah, probably. That's a good remark here.
Yeah, it's not related to animation. I don't think so. It's probably a kind of setup, Golem setup for the ground adaptation or things like that, because the asset is the casual guy. So the character maker, there is no issue with the leg detection and things like that. But especially in this scene, it's
maybe in the motion or in the setup, correct?
Much way better, yeah.
And that's too bad, because here I really wanted to see that converging stuff closer, because I can see so many people converging and turning and merging to each other, which is something pretty sweet to see, but it's really far in the background, and that's too bad because it looks actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Sallu, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, cool. So going to the Roman thing, I think if I look at just the frame, not the moving thing, I think it looks pretty beautiful, like just the integration and things. But I think it falls apart as soon as you see them, like adapting to the terrain like really badly. And then again, what William said for the other the army to kind of have variation and kind of things. But yeah, the only thing I like about this one was like just the whole the visual integration of it. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of work on in terms of creating variation and things. Again, going back to the stadium part, similar to what William said, I was seeing like not COVID friendly, but something which basically if you had a reference of say a stadium, you would see like there would be more people towards the stage, and we would like to see kind of more patterns in how people actually if there's a rock concert, like you have more people towards the front, and then maybe there are people walking into the stairs, like maybe going to the to the washrooms and coming and joining, those kind of little details, which normally when we do a stadium shot, it's never simple. There's always the clients, they ask to do things like to break up the things, like they're always looking at because most of you have been already into like a concert or some kind of like a big gathering, and when you're there, you'll know that it's not that simple of just like people all doing the same thing. There's so much going on. So if you kind of remember those things, or even if you watch a video and then kind of incorporate those little details, it actually brings life to a scene like this. But at the moment, I think it's a lot of work to be done on this one, just like having people like, it could be like, there are always like security bouncers in the front, those kind of little details like adding would definitely help on this one. And in terms of the zombie things, as the other guys mentioned, there's like, I think, yes, the animation needs to be fixed. I do see the effort of taking the Mixamo animation and actually putting it onto the Crowdman. But I think that needs to be, I don't know if there was a conversion not done correctly or something, or the footprints were not calculated during that process. But apart from that, if let's say if technical things are fixed, creatively, the first comment I would do is like, let's say if all the ground adaptation was correct in the zombie scene, the first thing which stands out for me is like the front two guys are doing exactly the same. That's something when in the background, maybe you can get away, but when you have crowd like so close up, you could have just used the layout to offset them. We normally do that in our everyday work as well. Like there's a lot of things which we get comments is also kind of this, like where two characters are in sync, or maybe two characters are looking the same. In this case, it's fine because you're using the same character. But the first thing I would say is like, it looks at one stage, they're doing exactly the same animation. They're very synced. So I would change, like offset them a bit, whether in a simulation or in a layout, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Those are really fair points, is that really sometimes we underestimate the difficulty of making a stadium. We're just, saying, okay, stadium, the difficulty is just in the numbers because there's going to be so many to render. But you sometimes forget the fact that indeed the density is going to be different depending where you are based to the stage and based to the action. There's always some characters moving amongst the crowd, and the crowd is super dense, so that's super hard to have that nice animation of the characters. And and indeed a stadium crowd is not always a simple crowd, depending on how high end you want to go. Fair point. Okay, let's move to the next one. We've got Antonio work, and I'm pretty sure I've seen Antonio name around here. So if you're still connected, let us know. And I can totally see here that they're supporting a red and white team for sure. And there's a lot of close simulation. Is it simulation, or is it is Antonio? Yeah, I can see he's connected. So is it simulation, or is it a cash crowd that you're having here? And wow, the result looks pretty great. We've got all that nice diversity, diversity of textures here. And that's a sequence. So we've got also armies with physics. And custom assets being converted apparently. And obviously zombies as well. So Antonio is here, but apparently is not answering. So maybe you'll catch up into the replay. But I'm going to assume here that's a simulation. So if it's a simulation, it should have taken a long time to compute all those clauses together. But I know what you guys are going to say. Probably you don't get that number of flags in the stadium most of the time. It's probably something like this that you are having. And even if the people are greatly coordinated in terms of clothes, probably you have more diversity in terms of reds, I guess. Who wants to pop in on the stadium stuff? Supervisors first.
Okay, I'll go first. Sorry, I was still like looking through the
fair enough.
The Dropbox video because it does take some time. Sorry, let me. Okay, I think it's the only thing which kind of like kind of stands out, and for me in terms of the technicalities, like the use of the cloth. I think I haven't seen this yet in other reels, but I think that's pretty cool. And in terms of the stadium, I think it's the same kind of deal, like trying to create more variation and also different things. For the armies, I think again, having everybody like doing the same thing, kind of creating variation in the animation. That would help too. And in the other army where they're actually standing and just like firing and then they get blown away, I think that's pretty cool. It kind of shows the physics thing. Again, also the formation, it's very it's like really? Formation, like it's like in a very straight line, which normally doesn't happen. A slight variation and things would have helped.
I kind of in that shot, I agreed with you on that shot formation shot, but I kind of like the fact that there's small details. There's like the birds, but also I figured probably those guys are crowds as well, and they've got the drums, they've got a flag running, and they're doing something specific. So there was some effort here to convert characters, create variations of it, even if those guys they are in the middle of a war, and apparently they are not worrying too much about it. Yeah, the diversity here in terms of motions and behaviors was pretty great.
I like the fact that it's a different character, and then he's actually gone to kind of put efforts to create a different character, what he has learned. And also I noticed the birds as well. I don't know if they were part of the golem flocking.
I think
that's a pretty cool detail as well.
I think so.
Yeah,
they could be.
Yeah, cool. I think it's a pretty good stuff.
I was also, the flags really take all the attention, but when you look afterwards, you can see also that the characters are really nicely assigned to the seat. There are some characters standing, some characters sitting, and they're not offsetted compared to the seat. So that was some pretty heavy work actually to do, and some variations in the flags as well. I could see some really small flags, big flags as well. Who else wants to add more details here?
Yeah, I can. Regarding the waving flags in the stadium, I have the strange feeling that they are not attached to anybody in the audience, especially the second one where we have big waves of flags, and it's kind of impossible to be waved by anybody in the public. It's only this kind of remarks like.
You mean they're probably too big compared to the size of the character and the way they're moving
too high. Yeah, they are floating too high. Also, the stick of the flag will be maybe 3 meters long.
Yeah.
So it's kind of impossible.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, but the stadium shots are great. Regarding the charging shots, the people in the foreground are popping from nowhere. They're going out from the ground on the hill.
Indeed. Looks like
you can easily give some more realism to the shot by taking the ground into account when you do this kind of simulation. It's not so bad. It's not a big thing to do, but at the beginning, I was telling myself, but where are they coming from? Is there moving right to a bomb so they can appear like that? But no, in fact, it was on the second time I just figured that they are popping from the ground directly.
Yeah, correct. That's probably just ground addition to fix here, just to add more frequency here to make sure that they go, because the terrain has some pretty steep changes. So probably the default ground addition frequency is not high enough. So yeah, nothing too big. Yeah, nothing too big to change here.
Yep. It's very good shot because there is a lot of action. Anything on the ground and in the air, there's something to see. Bomb, the fire, thing like that, the smoke, give some realism to the action. So pay attention to the set. Your set must be correctly set to have your crowd on top of it, and there is no penetration, things like that. You can add some variation also on the horses running in front of the camera, because they're all running in a straight line. So if you have some little movement in the trajectories, it would be much better. The next one, after that,
the zombie one.
No, this one. I think
this one's
great. You don't have, from a point of view, to add some lot of things to have it properly. I think people that get blasted away like that and people are near to them, very close to the bombing area, they probably react differently.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe they can try to run something else, somewhere else. Sorry, because people are dying hardly close to them. So maybe they stop playing music with the. There are a lot of people dying away. You can play the shots like this, and you have a lot of things playing at the same time, the firing and bombing, and
yeah,
you can give some picture that to add more realism. And just this one, I just noticed at the very first thing that people are working on the Shell gasoline pancart. They're crossing the thing. There is no avoidance of the set.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah, you're correct. I didn't notice this, but
Yeah,
indeed they're going
passing through the.
Yeah.
Once more, the set is important. If you put something in the set, you have to take it into account in the simulation. Just by avoiding it, like I don't know the word, but locator entity avoidance things.
Yeah, external entity locator.
Yeah, exactly. It's not big deal, but it would be better to have a correct avoidance of any element of the set. But that's it for me for the the comments I can make.
I'm under the impression that for this shot, and especially I don't see shadows here, so probably that background here has been rendered separately, and the crowd has been heading on top, and this is why we don't get avoidance here, and we got that weird impression of characters going through that sign. It's probably because they are in two separate scenes. And Sajila also in the chat box was referring to the fact that ground repetition is very important. So making renders from time to time with low samples to get fast results could be handy as well to get a sense of how far you are from the ground and the other characters a bit off.
But it's great work, and I really like the zombie popping in front of the camera, and you can see right into his eyes. It's great. It's great. Good work.
Okay, let's move to the next one. That's Amanpreet work, and I think it would be familiar for some of you guys who may have worked on something pretty similar in a production work. A character made of crowds. Does it sound familiar? And if yes, what will be the challenges of doing this? You know I'm referring to you, Sallu, right?
Sorry, what was that?
A character made of crowd characters.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was just still looking at the other link because of the playback. I think it's pretty cool idea, like, trying to do this. But I think it also comes down to what we are trying to achieve, like what was your the final goal was just to create a character made of crowds, but in what way, like how they're gonna be, are they gonna be standing on top, or is like oriented in a way, or what they're doing, kind of things. It all kind of comes down to that, like, but I do see there are a lot of characters kind of going through each other. So I think it's a cool idea, but I would have liked to see like more of those kind of things taken into account, like, avoiding, and even like the density where you want to add more, like say maybe you don't want to add more people in the armpit or something. Let's say if you had to animate this character, this whole big thing, so then they'll be like kind of crushed. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool thing. I know that we did work on a similar thing for a TV show, but there it was driven by a lot of art work, which the client wanted. So it was not just like adding people on top. But I think it's the right idea in terms of, I'll be curious to see if it was just done using just a pop tool thing, or also like to see if this character animated a little bit to see how the other things behave.
Yeah.
Or is it animated, or
it's raising his arm at some point, but yeah, probably having the character walking and have some guys falling from him. You know, that's something you would expect, that when the characters walk, maybe he loses some of them here and there, so you can bring some physics in the game. But yeah, the character is just animated by raising his arm, I think. And also, the small characters, the crowd characters, they don't play an animation. That probably would have been a pretty great addition, which wouldn't have cost too much time to just take some motion from the stadium pack and just scatter them around, have some random variation on the characters, because here they're really standing on top of the polygons thanks to the normal. So just adding variation on in terms of the different variation, the different orientation, maybe had some physics to avoid the collision, that kind of small stuff, which are, you know, layer by layer improving the final results and bringing that character, that crowd character, to life.
Yeah, on the note of adding like using physics for the collision, it's very tricky. It's not an easy thing to do.
Sure.
Because I've gone through that, and in most of the cases, we kind of we didn't have enough time to kind of deal with it, so we dealt with that in the layout stage.
Got it.
Yes, it was a lot of work, but still we kind of managed to do where it needed to be perfect.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the animation on the characters would have helped, and also kind of cleaning up the density, like, you know, maybe I don't know, in the hips areas, like too many of them, and you know, the distribution wise, like it would have like driven by a map or something, so that, you know, it looks a bit it doesn't just look like a fur ball, but more like something interesting. It's a good job.
If you guys are curious about what the Scanline team did with something pretty similar, we posted a link into the chat box, and there's actually a question for you guys regarding that shot. Is are the crowd characters animated in the shots, or are they static? You're muted.
Sorry, was that a question for me?
Yeah, I think so. Wow, you were involved on that show, right?
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, I thought you were asking that.
No.
Yes, they were all animated, but the way that was done was it started as a pose, and then we record the pose, and all the data is actually stored on like locators.
Yeah.
And like, well, not locators, basically. In Golem, it was a motion file, which was running a pose. Basically, it was not animation, but then the animation was layered on top of it. So there was a layer of animation of the arms and the head. We kept the legs static because they had to be stuck into this mask. But then there was another layer of facial animation added on top of it as well.
Okay.
In terms of the penetration, yeah. So as I said, like we were looking into physics setup as well. We looked into many different scenarios of physics, character control, and all those things. And I think Chris was there too at the time, and he was trying hard to get it done. But we were running out of time, so we ended up fixing some of the things in the layout because that much faster.
So you mean like using the layout tool, like the posture and rig nodes?
The posture and the rig tool, yeah.
Damn.
Exactly. Yeah. It was pretty. I mean, it was a bit. It did take a bit of time, but it was fast enough to kind of like running through the simulation process and like trying to reiterate all those things.
Got it. Okay. So we got two more. we've got Allanlee work here. And yeah, I should admit that the first time I watched this, I loved it right away because there's so much stuff going on. It's pretty neat. I mean, the characters variation, they're not from the character pack, so there was some work here on the creating your characters. Same goes for the cars. There's some pretty nice range of size of vehicles. I could see some characters crossing, and I'm not sure if that's a behavior thing or just a lucky thing, having the car stopping by. The only thing, and that's such a small thing, is this arrow here on the road is something I noticed that the first time I watched the video, saying, okay, there's that line, that arrow saying we go on that side, and then we've got the ambulance going the other side, and that's just so little and so subtle. I'm sorry that I noticed that, but yeah, else well, that's super great shots. Would like to chime in?
I can go because I saw my thing was mute, unmute. Sorry, guys.
And Allanlee is here, so
yeah, I love this shot. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think, well, the ambulance has the right way to go anywhere. I don't like the other guy who's going behind him, trying to take advantage of the ambulance. But overall, I really like this shot because there is so much going on, as you said, and that's what we normally look for, you know, in trying to create something like it. So even if it's a very simple scene, as a static camera, but it tells the story of an intersection, but there's a lot of going on. You have like people like a cop standing and giving a ticket to somebody in the front.
Yeah, correct. Sure.
And like the people in the park bench, you know, I think all those like little details kind of create so much life to a shot, even though it's just a simple shot, but actually it has got so much depth to it. So I think it's well done. And I don't know if you guys paid for the Golaem advertising to Allanlee. It's pretty cool. Yeah, good job.
Yeah,
and yeah, plus points for like using a different character apart from the character pack. I'm a big kind of, I'm always looking when looking at the show release. Yes, I mean, it's good to use a character pack for training, but if you want to show somebody to a studio, you know, try to showcase you that apart from using a character pack, you know how to process a character like a totally different, and then you know, show those efforts like putting into that character, making preparing a character. But yeah.
And I also appreciate that the wheels they are turning, but they are steering like left and right. But that's so, and I know there's so many work here. That's so bad that just Allanlee, you didn't have the rolling animation, because that if you were able to do the steering, like doing the rolling was not big deal, especially considering how much work you were able to put into this. But having, you know, the wheels also rolling would have been, yeah, amazing. But I agree, there's so many, you know, small stuff. Every time I watch the video again and again, I see new stuff. And actually I haven't seen, when I first watched it, I didn't see the guys sitting in a bench. And actually when you start the video from the beginning, you can see one guy here who's standing, and he's actually sitting when the shot starts right away. So there's small life being headed here and there. Mikael, I know that you did a lot of city shots, like those ones with you know, people hanging around the underground city.
Yeah,
Would like to chime in.
I would say congratulations, because it's a very, very beautiful shot, especially the fact that it's full of part of life everywhere. It's not only people walking right away. It's giving life everywhere. You can feel that people have purposes when they're moving. They are not hanging around just playing some walk cycle. If you pay attention to the trajectory, for example, of people near the green light where crossing the street, it's not a short turn when they are walking on left and right.
Yeah.
It takes time to turn. It's not a perfect curve. It's there is life in it, and I could just suggest, if you want to use this shot to find some job in crowd area, just be careful with the guy with the great walk in the bottom. Sorry, on the bottom right, there is a penetration. The lady is walking through the guy. The lady with the blonde hair. Yes,
This one here. Okay.
Yeah, at the beginning, she walking literally into the guy.
Yeah, correct. So probably fix it to layout, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just in layout, and it would be very good. And the lady with the dress just on the left, the feet are not putting on the ground, but except these two things, I think it's very, very good job. So congratulations again. So it's typically the kind of behaviors and that are expected in the city shot, where cars and people have soul. So it's not only a 3D, it's people. And in this shot is perfect example of this attention to the detail. Good job.
Yeah, and if you just want to fix the wheels, because I can see your comment here that you had an issue getting the wheels to work, let us know. We'll be really happy to help here. William, I also know that you did plenty of shots like this one in Paw Patrol, SpongeBob, and you've been hitting those shots for years. So your take on it?
Yes, I did. Like Mika and Sallu said, it's a well-made shot. We have a lot of details, which is super important to have something credible in a city. Having people just walk straight forward is okay, but having those little touches there and there, like the officer talking to the guy or the people on the benches, it's small details, but that can bring a shot really, really well. You did also some crossings and cars stopping as well, which is nice. It's not something that is super easy to do with so many people, so props to you. And yeah, a lot of different motions, a lot of things happening in the same space, a lot of things to see and notice after each rewind, which is great. Great job.
Anyone else wants to chime in? Great. So yeah, let's move on to the last one. And that's Adriano work. So, wow. I can probably disclaim that Adriano attended last year academy and is working in the field now. So I'm not saying he's cheating, but he's got a bit more experience than just the academy here. And wow, that's something you can feel right away when you look at it, because there are some characters custom made that you don't get to see too often here. Some nice attention to having drivers reacting, playing some nice animation, and yeah, some composition as well. So yeah, here as well, that's a pretty neat work there. And I think Adriano is around. He also like shared the breakdown, so you can even see how the assets looks like, because I was really curious to know how he did it and how's the driver being made as well. And I like the camera being attached to one character, so you can feel the action on the crowd character. That's, I guess, my personal taste here. That's something I like to see pretty often. Would like to comment that. I've got the automatic blade at 8. Wait a minute.
Okay, I think it's a pretty cool shot. I like the fact that how the character is actually integrated with the robot as well, having that motion. I don't know if you have used any kind of a secondary motion on top of it, but it does look pretty cool. I think that it kind of like sells the shot as well. yeah, other than that, I think looks like you had a head start from last year with the first Golaem Academy. And yeah, it's a pretty cool shot. I like it. Yeah.
So for the people who are not seeing the breakdown, could you share just a slightly the driver? Are they part of the rig or they're separate entities and you just attach them to each other? Am I correct? Anyone else wants to chime in? That's the last example, so that's your last time to comment there.
Yeah, I would like to
Go ahead.
to make some comments. Hello, Adriano. Hope you're well. I think it's pretty good directed. It's beautiful. Camera movement is great. Crowd stuff is very good. The only thing that I could add about the last part of the shot is the guy running on the hill of sand. You probably could get some more foot adapted to the ground. Also, it's always some kind of problems that we could see in those previous shots. Also, it's they are not really lying on the ground.
Yeah,
it's some kind of little slide, and they are not moving straight forward. They are moving a little sideways, and we don't feel the contact of the feet on the ground. It's not a lot of. It's not a big deal. It's only a matter of adaptation and replay of the motion according to the ground. I think there is a difference between the motion playing and the it's kind of ground adaptation only. It's the only thing that we can see in this. I can see in the shots that can have some more time to enhance the quality of the crowd on the shot. It's the only point that I can suggest you to have a look and get a better result in the realism of the movement of your troops at the end.
Yeah, agreed here. And it's really subtle also, but I can feel here and there that some diversity on the the textures of the characters. They're slightly all different, especially that big guys. They have variations in each of them. Yeah, it's really more. I would see the movie, which goes with that shot, with those mecha there, like the story it's telling.
So to answer your question, Nicolas, in the breakdown, it is said that the drivers, they are emitted on the seat of the bots.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's a good way to do it. And I like the fact that it's really tiny, but the guy who is steering something here is like touching something. I really like that small addition. Brings a lot to the shot, which is like super. It's not something really big, but it works pretty well. Who else would like to add a comment? That's the last video, so yeah, that's your last chance if you want to go ahead with this.
I will say something.
Go ahead.
Before I can't. This is a nice shot. Definitely the walkers are stealing the show in there. Props to you to have the drivers emitted onto the entities. It's not something that I remember was easy back in my days. So that's
we
nice.
It since.
Yeah. So nice job. I wonder if the steering part that you mentioned, Nicolas, is actually triggered by the motion of the walker. If so, that's really well done. What I mean is that if the walker goes left, I wonder if the left arms is going also to left. Again, it's not something impactful in the global and overall thing, but it's a nice sticky thing to have. The only
just to add on top of your remark here, because you're correct. I was also under the impression that the head of the driver is kind of following. It's like reversing when the characters go down the opposite direction. So I'm not sure if that's intended or if that's just being lucky here, but that small stuff of the guy correcting the balance of the mecha Yeah, I figured that was a small detail. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was nearly done. Just wanted to say that because these workers steal the show, be careful to their synchronicity in the animation. Especially in the first shot, we can see that maybe 3, 4, or 5, the first 5 workers are working at exactly the same pace. So be careful with that. Don't hesitate to time offset them in layout if needed, just to make sure that they fit nicely with the rest of the crowd.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I see what you mean now. Yeah, great. Okay, so I guess we are all good. That was all the submissions that we had this year. So well, thank you very much for participating and taking some on your personal time to follow the academy and put some extra work on the submissions here. That's been a blast once again, and we've got the chance to have 4 experienced people. If you want to, you know, ask questions about how does a crowd job looks like, please go ahead. I think we also wanted to mention that, but correct me, Alex, if I'm wrong, that if you go on the website on jobs.golem.com, or if you go on the website, you figure there's a job section there. So if you guys, you know, enjoyed making crowds, there's a fair amount of open position at the moment that you can apply for. Also, I think, are we going to do this once again this year, making a show reel of the best submissions? Yeah, go ahead if you want to speak about this.
Yeah, sure. So after this review, we talk together and select a few projects to create a demo reel for the academy so that we can promote your work. And because, you know, many studios are hiring people, and so they are always asking us for contacts of Golem artists. So if you want to work in crowds, it can be a good advertising. And yeah, after, because we asked for your address and everything on the submission form, we'll send some goodies to everyone who submitted work. But yeah, don't expect it in 1 week or 2. It will take a bit of time because we are quite busy.
So yeah, there's the job list section here. So the guys are still there. So if you've got any questions, let's go. And in the meantime, if you want to also provide some feedback about the academy, if you like it, if it was helpful, if you plan to do some crowds. I know that some of you guys and well, Adriano is already in crowd. So I already know he has answer. I think Allanlee also is working in a studio. So the guy who made that traffic shot with so much detail. So some of you guys already have like good positions there. But yeah, feel free to provide any feedback there. So we know what to improve and what to keep for next session. Do I remember well that last year, William, you asked some of your artists to follow the Golaem Academy and you used that as a training material?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, fair enough. So any questions for the crowd supervisors and the crowd artists which are here?
Sallu, do you want to talk about, I think you are still hiring?
Yes, I was just waiting for my chance. So yes, we are hiring across the globe, basically. We're looking for Montreal, we're looking for Vancouver, even in Europe, we want to form a team there as well. So yes, what I would like to see is actually, yeah, there were a lot of comments and things on some of the reels, but I would like to see all those reels kind of again with all those notes being taken and like, you know, taken into account and like redone. I think that will show us kind of like how much effort you have actually put into it to kind of make it better. It also shows you that you are taking notes and also addressing those notes, which is what happens in our everyday work. Is you get notes from, yes, as a supervisors, we give some note, but at the end of the day, it's always the client which decides what is good for them.
Sure.
And when you get a note, even if you didn't like it, you still have to kind of do it. So this kind of will be a good exercise though, to see these reels again.
Yeah, indeed, we can extend the licenses for every single of you guys, and if you want to, you know, like take the notes into account to improve the shots.
I already extended it for some people, so just ask me, and I will send you a license until the end of the month.
And there's no limit date. I mean, you've got Sallu name here if you want to LinkedIn with him and you know, send your updated shot as soon as you have it, and when you're happy with it, there's no like specific deadlines for that, but we can extend the licenses for sure. The Discord is still here, and we're all around on the Discord to help you, you know, get the final step and get the final 20% that you're missing on the shots, help you pushing the shots even forward. Those guys that you're having here, they get in touch with the support team on a regular basis for their production requirements, so don't feel ashamed to ask for support. That's part of the job as well. So yeah, feel free to, if you want to push it because you've been liking the experience and you want to go ahead with that, feel free. I could see we've got a couple of questions regarding how challenging it is to take role as a crowd artist after working as an FX artist. So I guess how far being an FX artist from a crowd artist it is? Do you think it's a small step to take? Do you think it's a big step to take? What will be your idea on this?
I would say, like, in terms of if you're already working in a studio as an FX artist, apart from like learning the using Golaem or any other tools to do the crowd, it's you know, it's always, you can learn those skills, but also the skills which you have already learned, which is like how to work in a production, how to, you know, manage your notes and reviews and all those things will still help. So those kind of skills, what you learn in a studio, whether, doesn't matter which studio, it always kind of goes with you. It's like it always goes as an experience. Learning a different tool is basically like another aspect of it. Is you learn it and then you start to incorporate that. But as I said, I don't see any difference being like, you know, if you're an FX artist, I'm sure it's gonna help you in terms of learning the technical things easily, probably. But that's just my take.
Yeah, I probably agree that having a technical mindset could help into getting into more advanced crowd simulation stuff. So for sure, but as you said, being in the studio is already a lot of skills, social skills and production skills that you have, and you just have to relate them to crowds now. So I'm pretty sure that that's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and in addition to that, FX artists are particle based, like Golaem is particle based. So you probably have some skill in scripting, for example, about particle movement and behavior or something like that. So that could always be useful on the crowd side. Even if Golaem is quite good in providing some out of the box behaviors and nodal aspect of your setup of your shot. If you want to go deep with your knowledge of particle existence, emission, behavior, fields, and things like that, you have the same things in the Golaem. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair points here. Yeah, indeed, correct.
Mikael, because you are talking, so I forgot to ask if Fortiche is hiring or you are full now.
For the moment, we are not hiring, but in the few months, maybe 6 months, because that we could search for another people. Yeah, another artist.
Another person. Yeah, got it.
To come to the team. So I'm happy to discover the artist behind the reel of today. It's cool.
Great. That's.
I would like to add one more thing for.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, for the FX artist thing, another skill which is kind of very important and also is like a troubleshooting. So if you're already an FX artist and troubleshooting your problems and like solving things, the same skill will definitely help in the crowds as well, because in the end of the day, it's always, you know, apart from the creative work you do, there's also a part of which you have to deal with is the technical challenges. But in a bigger studio, we have people who kind of help. So don't get kind of in a that if you're not technical, you won't become a crowd artist, because we also have a different range of artists in crowd. So it could be just crowd artists who are doing the layout work and, you know, doing those kind of things, you know, adding extra details and things like that. But at the same time, if these people need technical help, we always have, especially in our case, our studio, we have support for those people, so they don't have to kind of worry about the technical aspect of it. Like if something is not rendering or not working, it's always like a collaboration. It's not only an individual person at the end of the day. So it's always a team. So yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Thanks for the precision here. Well, just 2 more questions to handle. And do you think crowd artists have stable careers in studios, or do you think they're just freelancing and go from place to place? What are your experiences and what are your team's experiences, I guess?
I would say it was a bit unstable in, I don't know, maybe 5 years back, I think, when there were like very few shows which there used to be like 1 or 2 shows which had crowds in it, but it has actually changed now, and every show has some crowd in it. And especially during this pandemic time, it became like all the shows were having crowds in it because of the thing. It's started to slowly kind of decline, but we still have a lot of shows. Like at the moment, we are running 5 shows at the moment, running crowds, and 2 more to start later in this year.
Damn.
And like few more slated for the next year. In terms of the career, I think it kind of depends on how the market is going in terms of what kind of movies are being done. But definitely the kind of requirement for crowds in a show has definitely increased. Even like maybe it could be like 10 shots or it could be 20 shots, but sometimes it could go on like for many shots. So yeah, it's a very hard thing to answer. At the moment, it is stable. That's all I can say. I can say for till next year. But, beyond that, I don't know. Yeah,
I get it. Mikael, would you like to share your experience regarding this?
Yeah. 10 years ago, it was pain in the ass to find some crowd shots, quad show. And with Golem, because at the beginning, Golem takes some time to get into the market because of the youth of the company, and there is a reliable fact that when studios doesn't know a tool, a plugin, they don't want to invest into this technology and get their pipeline according to this kind of technology and things like that. So 10 years ago, it was difficult to find a stable place. As Sallu told earlier, now it's not the same because Golem is widespread, really worldwide usage. Every studio now can make some crowd with Golem. It's more accessible. So if you want to do some crowd stuff with Golem specifically, now you can find anywhere in the globe some production using it. And I will tell the same thing regarding the quality that is expected from crowd artists. There is a big level up now. I spent 10 years in Microsimage doing some lot of stadium and city placement, things like that, and in 40 production right now, or either in another studio in Montreal called Singing Frog Studio, which I am as a freelance working on on a new butterfly movie. Even if the studio is small, they doesn't really know how to deal with crowd.
Yeah.
They have a big ambition. And when they told us we want to do 200 shots with crowd, with full animated butterflies, things like that, it's kind of crazy, but for me it's relevant about the need of crowd everywhere, in every size of studios, in every size of production. So I think it's the perfect moment to find them places to do some crowd stuff. And the thing is, it's very difficult for studio to find Golem trained people.
Yeah, experienced artists for sure.
Experienced artists, yeah. It's very, very difficult because every new guy that with some Golem skill is hired immediately everywhere in the globe. So yeah, it's a kind of Eldorado for Golem artists right now.
Right. For sure, that's also something we can see on our side, that it has democratized a lot, having crowds in, as Sallu mentioned, and you mentioned that the new standard is, okay, crowds is not so difficult to do anymore because of softwares coming, us and other softwares as well. So now it becomes the norm to put dozens of shots with crowds, because that's something which is supposed to be basics now. So yeah, we could also feel the fact that, and also with the pandemic area, for sure it has raising the need of crowd artists. So that makes sense. And okay, last questions to wrap this up, I guess. Does having rigging skills would help as being a crowd artist? Do you guys have rigging skills, or is that something which is made specifically into another department, and that's maybe not relevant to you? Or does having rigging skills help you speak with the riggers? What would you say?
Well, I think I would say that the crowd itself is a mini production, because it involves modeling, rigging, look dev, lighting,
Materials.
layout.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I always say it as it's a crowd, doing a crowd work is almost like a mini production. So it depends, like you're in the middle where you're like a crowd skills, but anything going either ways, whether rigging or modeling or animation, lighting and things, all helps. So basically it kind of, the more the more you have a wide range of understanding in terms of how the crowd work is done, and also you'll be able to do it better, because if you understand how your rigs are made, because probably you don't have to do your own rigs, because every studio has depending on the size of the studio, they have dedicated teams and they have specialists.
Indeed.
But it helps you in trying to give your requirements, like make them understand what Golem skeletons can do or cannot do. So those kind of conversation, if you understand the other side of it, say how a rig works in a studio, then it's easy for you to make them understand, like, hey, we need a skeleton, it has to be in this kind of format, and it has to have this kind of joints and this kind of skinning structure. So it helps you kind of have those conversations go smoothly. Otherwise you're going to be wasting a lot of time back and forth testing and things. And the same thing goes to the look dev as well. The more you understand how the shading variation works, then it will be easier for you to kind of explain that to an look dev artist. And sometimes the look dev artist might not be technically good, but it'll at least comes to you to kind of explain them, like, hey, we have an attribute on this character, and it's where, in my experience, it's very hard to convince a look dev artist, because they always want to see the values. They want to see something, but with the crowd, it's very hard to explain, because those attributes and values, they exist, but they exist at the render time. So for them to conceive that idea is a bit hard, especially in my experience. I've noticed in different areas working in different studios. So if you understand that part and how to explain, it'll actually make it easier. So what I'm trying to say is like basically understanding all these elements definitely help you to be a good crowd artist and kind of move forward up.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
I know that Mikael, you can relate also to being an animation studio, and rigging is a big part of an animation studio. It's like the center of the secret sauce that you have, and especially on Arcane. What would be your take about the rigging stuff?
Yeah. The team behind the rigging of every character is a great job about that, because the FPS that you get in Maya when you animate is crazy, because it's kind of 24 images per second, so frame per second. So if you have a poor rig system, all animators will have some issues with real time doing every move, and maybe 500 playbacks per day, because they want to check the move. And on the rigging, the animation part for the crowd animation, we are very lucky, especially with the help of William, because when he started to put the characters with some great mapping between the animation rig system and the crowd rig system, so the crowd skeleton, so you can animate the animation rig system, and you have immediately the result on the golem skeleton. So with kind of tools, it's a great things to enhance the production, and doesn't focus on technical issues, but doing some animation that will be correctly played as you see in the viewport on your crowd character. So it's very important, and it's a lot of work at the beginning.
Got it. Well, I guess we are good now. So thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to review the shots, share your experience. That was great to see you. Well, that's still behind the screen, but hopefully we'll see each other soon in real life. So I can pay you a beer for the time, and yeah, hopefully that'll happen soon. There are some of you who are closer to me well, in terms of distance at the moment than others. But yeah, SIGGRAPH is going to be in Vancouver, so we'll probably have a chance to also meet some of the Canadian people as well. So thank you so much for attending the Golaem Academy as well this year. Feel free to get in touch with us, to LinkedIn with the person here, especially if you're interested into a job, and we can also still relate you to the people who are here and to the people who are looking for a position. So hopefully you enjoy that session. I enjoyed really a lot today. So yeah, thank you for your time, and hope to see you soon then.
Thank you, guys.
You guys take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See ya.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.